Good morning, America. For viewers in the West, the Middle East conflict escalates. Israel launches airstrikes in Lebanon. Hezbollah fires back with missiles after 2 days of coordinated attacks targeting Hezbollah operatives. The group's leader calls it an act of war, vowing retribution. As we learn more about how Israel got those detonating devices into the country.
46 days until the election. Vice President Harris on the campaign trail with Oprah, with the VP answering questions from voters. Plus, our exclusive with second gentleman Doug Emhoff.
What do you say to those who say, how is she going to be different from what we've seen with President Biden?
Emhoff on the campaign, the economy, their family, and his reaction to Donald Trump's repeated attacks on Jews who support Democrats and Harris.
Under fire. The Republican nominee for governor in North Carolina vows to stay in the race, denying he made a series of racist and inflammatory online posts, reportedly calling himself a black Nazi. North Carolina, a critical battleground state. We look at 7 major states in play right now.
Courthouse killing. A Kentucky judge shot dead in his chamber and a sheriff arrested. Investigating Sean Diddy Combs' entourage as Combs awaits trial on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Investigators working to determine who his co-conspirators were and if they should be charged.
Medal flip.
What about Jordan? You want to try?
This morning, potentially key evidence in gymnast Jordan Childs' fight to reclaim Olympic bronze. What the video shot for a documentary about Simone Biles could show. Plus, the Jets soar on Thursday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers helping New York do something it hasn't done in almost a decade.
Ohtani.
And Shohei Ohtani stands alone again, stealing another spotlight in baseball history.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. I'm sure you're up late watching the baseball game, watching Shohei Ohtani set a new record. But good morning to you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
I'm always up late watching the baseball game, Michael. You know me. We have a lot to get to this morning, and I am looking forward to your interview with the first gentleman, Doug Emhoff, coming up ahead. Also ahead, a new report by the FTC that says social media companies are surveilling users, including children.
That is coming up. We begin with the conflict in the Middle East. Israeli warplanes unleashed hundreds of strikes in southern Lebanon as Hezbollah launched cross-border attacks. Marcus Moore is in Beirut with the latest. Good morning, Marcus.
George, good morning. It has been another active day here in Lebanon. We are just getting word of a new strike in southern Beirut. According to local news reports, there are many casualties and a rescue operation is underway at the scene just a few miles from where we are right now. This morning, destruction and chaos in southern Beirut after an apparent Israeli strike in the Hezbollah stronghold of Dahiya. Lebanon's national news agency reports there are several deaths, including at least 5 children. This exchange of fire comes after 2 days of unprecedented attacks targeting Hezbollah operatives, their handheld electronic devices detonating across Beirut, killing at least 37 and injuring thousands. The IDF releasing this footage of what it says is a strike on a Hezbollah weapons warehouse in the south of Lebanon. The leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, calling it an act of war. He says the attacks of this week will bring, quote, a severe reckoning and just retribution against Israel. Just as Hassan Nasrallah was giving his speech, there were 2 huge sonic booms that shook the buildings here. People screamed, and clearly the tension is high all over Lebanon. Lebanese civilians still facing the aftershock, hospitals tending to the wounded. An intelligence source confirming to ABC News the details behind this week's attacks. Israel creating shell companies to manufacture and sell pagers to Hezbollah. According to the source, 1 to 2 ounces of explosives were planted in the pagers with a remote trigger switch to set off the blasts. This kind of attack planned 15 years in advance. The State Department continuing to insist on de-escalation.
We're going to continue to try to prevent that. So far, we have been successful of keeping it from turning into an all-out regional war, and that's what we're going to continue to try to pursue. At the same time, the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has said that Israel has entered a new phase of this war as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to safely return residents to the north. Michael.
All right, Marcus, thank you so much for that. We're going to turn now to the race for the White House. And overnight, Vice President Harris was in Michigan with Oprah, fielding questions from voters, while former President Trump spoke at an anti-Semitism event in Washington, D.C. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is in Detroit for us with the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Hey, Michael, good morning. Well, this event here overnight in Michigan was signature Oprah Winfrey, from the celebrity appearances to the deeply personal and emotional stories of voters. Harris and Oprah, well aware this race is extremely close and trying to reach out to those key voters that will make all the difference.
Unite for America!
Overnight, the Queen of Talk lending her star power to boost Kamala Harris and get out the vote, hoping to reach the critical sliver of voters that will determine this race.
Please welcome Kamala Harris!
In a highly produced virtual rally, Oprah trying to harness enthusiasm for Harris and keep her momentum going, urging Americans to vote their values.
Let me tell you, it is about character, and it's about decency and respect and all the things that we were raised to believe about what it means to be an American citizen and pursue the American dream.
Harris doing something she rarely does, fielding questions directly from voters about the issues top of mind for them, from immigration to the cost of living to reproductive rights.
The former president chose 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overdo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did as he intended.
Speaking out for the first time, the family of Amber Thurman, the 28-year-old mother who was reportedly the first publicly known woman to lose her life as a result of Georgia's abortion ban.
You're looking at a mother that is broken. The worst pain ever that a mother, that a parent could ever feel.
According to ProPublica, after a medical abortion, Amber suffered from a grave infection, but doctors waited 20 hours to operate. By then, it was too late.
I'm just so sorry. The word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yeah.
So is she on death's door before you actually decide to give her help?
That's the problem.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
And on the issue of gun violence, Oprah noting Harris herself is a gun owner.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah.
Back in Washington, former President Donald Trump joining one of his top donors, Miriam Adelson, at an event aimed at fighting anti-Semitism.
If we don't win this election, Israel, in my opinion, within a period of 2 to 3 years, will cease to exist. It's going to be wiped out.
The former president has said Harris, quote, doesn't like Jewish people and repeatedly attacked Jews who support Democrats and Harris.
Any Jewish person that votes for her, especially now, her or the Democrat Party, should have their head examined.
Harris's husband, second gentleman Doug Emhoff, himself Jewish, responding in an interview with our Michael Strahan.
He said this, quote, she doesn't like Jewish people. And
she likes me.
You're Jewish American. So what was your reaction when you heard that in real time?
So it's typical Donald Trump gaslighting. He is somebody who has had dinner with known anti-Semites. He is somebody who after the horrific events of Charlottesville, where people were actually marching with tiki torches saying Jews shall not replace us, and he said there were fine people on both sides of that. This is a guy who has had a record of saying incredibly vile anti-Semitic things. So for him to say that, I just almost laugh at how the chutzpah, as we would say, and it's gaslighting.
Harris now heads to Georgia today for a big abortion speech in Atlanta. She'll again be highlighting Amber's story and the very real consequences of what she calls Trump's abortion bans. She then finishes the day in battleground Wisconsin. Trump is off the trail today, but back out in North Carolina tomorrow, Michael.
All right, Mary, thank you so much. We're going to have more on my exclusive interview with second gentleman Doug Emhoff in our next half hour, George.
Right now, though, we're going to go to North Carolina. The Republican candidate for governor there under fire for disturbing comments he reportedly made on a website's message board. Rachel Scott is tracking the story. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. And it's not just the governor's race that's important in North Carolina. It's also a critical battleground state in presidential politics, too. Early voting in that state begins today. And Mark Robinson has made it clear his name is staying on the ballot.
This morning, Mark Robinson, the Republican nominee for governor in the critical swing state of North Carolina, is vowing to stay in the race, denying he made the series of racist and inflammatory online posts that are detailed in an explosive new CNN report, including one where he reportedly called himself a, quote, black Nazi.
Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson.
ABC News has not independently confirmed the reporting. CNN says Robinson, the state's current lieutenant governor, made the comments between 2008 and 2012 on a pornographic website called Nude Africa, including allegedly saying that slavery is not bad, adding he wished it would come back, and describing in graphic detail spying on women in public showers as a teenager. Robinson is no stranger to controversy. He has a history of inflammatory rhetoric, but he won the Republican primary with Trump's endorsement.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids, okay? Now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
CNN reports that allegedly in some online posts, Robinson actually attacked the slain civil rights hero Martin Luther King Jr., calling him a communist and using a racial slur. The North Carolina Republican Party is standing by their candidate for governor, calling the allegations against Robinson a political smear. But the Harris campaign pouncing, quick to highlight Trump and Robinson together.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
Polls have Vice President Kamala Harris and Donald Trump neck and neck in North Carolina.
The Trump campaign, responding to this news in a statement, calls North Carolina vital to their chances of winning the White House in November. That statement does notably not mention Mark Robinson by name, and this morning there is no word whether Robinson will appear with the former president at that rally in North Carolina this weekend, George.
Okay, Rachel, thank you. Let's get more on this from our Washington Bureau Chief Political Editor Rick Klein, North Carolina critical battleground.
Yeah, good morning, George. There are 7 battleground states in our 538 polling average, and Vice President Harris is now up in 4 of those states, and the closest one on the list right now, North Carolina, just a 1/10 of a percentage point separating the 2 of them. And it's very possible that the entire race depends on the outcome in that one state. Let's play with the map a little bit, and let's imagine a world where Harris wins in both Wisconsin and Michigan. If she doesn't also take Pennsylvania, she could still win Nevada and Arizona and still be short, still at 267. She needs 270. That would mean she'd have to win either Georgia or North Carolina. That's what makes this scandal in North Carolina, Georgia, potentially very big deal.
We're also getting some news on that single electoral vote in Nebraska, which could also be decisive.
Yeah, George, there are only 2 states, Nebraska and Maine, that award their electoral votes by congressional district and not just statewide. Nebraska, of course, deep red, but there is one district there. It's the Omaha area. That single electoral vote there has gone to President Obama once and also to President Biden. So let's imagine another path. This is actually one that the Harris campaign thinks is the likeliest way that she could win the presidency. She wins Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And let's give the other battleground states, the Sun Belt states, all to Donald Trump. Look at what kind of map we've got now, 269. That is a tie in the Electoral College. That one vote, then absolutely critical. That would be the clincher. Republicans are leaning heavily on the Republican governor there to call a special session of the legislature and change the law, even this late. Not clear they have the votes, but it is wild to think about how this is happening just less than 7 weeks before Election Day. Ballots already sent out in more than 10 states. In-person voting actually starts in 3 states, including Virginia, today, George.
Okay, Rick Klein, thanks very much. Michael?
All right, thank you, George. You're going to go now to the fatal shooting of a Kentucky judge in his chamber. A sheriff is in custody, and Faith Abube joins us with the story. Good morning, Faith.
Yeah, good morning to you, Michael. This deadly shooting has shaken the small Kentucky community to its core. Police say the sheriff walked into the judge's chamber. Witnesses heard an argument, and then moments later, multiple gunshots. This morning, a Kentucky sheriff is behind bars after allegedly opening fire on a district judge at a courthouse Thursday, killing him.
Fletcher County Courthouse, that shots fired.
Several law enforcement agencies responding to reports of gunfire inside the Letcher County Courthouse just before 3 p.m., finding 54-year-old District Judge Kevin Mullins suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He died at the scene.
We know that it was an argument between the two that led up, but what exactly transpired prior to the shots being fired, still things that we're trying to get answers to.
43-year-old Sheriff Sean Steins taken into custody at the scene, charged with 1 count of first-degree murder. Investigators haven't released a motive. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear tweeting, "There's far too much violence in this world, and I pray there's a path to a better tomorrow." And Rebecca, authorities haven't said exactly what led to the argument between the sheriff and the judge, but they do say the sheriff is cooperating with their investigation. Rebecca.
Just so shocking that it all went down there inside the courthouse. Okay, Faith, thank you. We turn now to Aaron Rodgers, leading the New York Jets to victory overnight against the Patriots. Will Reeve is here with the highlights. Hey, Will.
Hey, Rebecca. Good morning, everybody. It's an old rivalry, Jets-Patriots, and in the Tom Brady era, it was lopsided in favor of New England. But now Brady's in the booth, and the Jets have the future Hall of Fame QB this time, and at least for last night, the scales tipped heavily toward Aaron Rodgers and the home team. In fact, they were favored to win, the Jets were, for the first time in over a decade. And it was Rodgers' first home start since that Achilles injury 4 plays into last season that dashed everybody's dreams. There's his first home touchdown. A nice pass to Allen Lazard, 10 yards in for the score. Rodgers had 281 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. He said after the game he felt like a younger version of himself. All of that is music to Jets fans' ears. The Patriots, they were out of tune all night. They gained a paltry 93 yards of offense total. It's not even the length of a football field compared to the Jets' 400. That's a tough way to win, and they did not. The Jets roll 24-3. We're off to week 3 of the NFL season now. It'll culminate in a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Jaguars-Bills at 7:30 and Commanders-Bengals on ABC at 8:15.
Yeah, good to see Aaron Rodgers back.
Yeah,
good to see a New York team winning.
Yeah, right?
No slight on my own, but I'm just saying, it's good to have a win in New York City.
Always good.
All right, Will. Appreciate you. Coming up, my exclusive interview with second gentleman Doug Emhoff, making a case for Vice President Harris, talking about the campaign, the economy, and their family.
Plus, the investigation into Sean Diddy Combs' entourage. Prosecutors are working to determine if anyone else should be charged.
And overnight, the dream is still alive. The last team to clinch the playoffs as Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson gear up for the first round.
Coming up, Will Reeve one-on-one with Vince Vaughn.
Oh, he was the absolute best. Can't wait for everyone to see this. They say don't meet your heroes. Vince Vaughn, worth the wait here. He's fantastic. And we will be right back here on GMA.
Welcome back to GMA. That is a flashback Friday for you. Wedding Crashers, coming out in 2005. One of my favorite movies. Such a good movie. And this morning, Vince Vaughn is talking about his new show and a possible Wedding Crashers 2. That's all coming up in our next hour.
Looking forward to that. Following a lot of headlines right now. Wall Street set to begin trading this morning after closing at an all-time high following the Fed's interest rate cut. Dow rose more than 500 points to close above 42,000 for the first time. Mortgage rates continue to drop. The average 30-year fixed is down to just over 6%, a full point lower than a year ago. Also right now, nearly 1,200 hotel workers walked off the job in Boston, the latest work action in ongoing negotiations between the hotels and the union. This is the third strike this month that has seen workers all over the country take to the picket lines.
And Los Angeles Dodgers phenom Shohei Ohtani has made history once again, becoming the first major leaguer to join the 50-50 club. That is 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in the same season. It is amazing. Ohtani achieving the milestones during the best hitting day of his career. 3 home runs among his 6 hits, 2 stolen bases, 10 RBIs.
And remember, he's a pitcher as well, but he had the Tommy John surgery. He's not pitching right now, but he can do everything.
Yeah, let's play ball. He takes it real seriously.
Now to the Sean Combs investigation. The music mogul is accused of threatening and abusing multiple victims over years. Prosecutors say he had a lot of help, and those alleged accomplices are now in their sights. Our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Tursky, has the latest. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, George. With Sean Combs locked up here at this federal jail, investigators are now turning to his inner circle. This morning, as hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs fights racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges, investigators are working to determine who his co-conspirators were and whether they, too, should be charged.
He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Just this week, prosecutors said they served Combs as head of security with a search warrant for his electronic devices.
You can rest assured that the feds have already talked to the people who worked for Combs, and all of those people have already probably given statements.
The 54-year-old has pleaded not guilty to charges he led a criminal conspiracy that abused women. The indictment alleged some of Combs's employees helped set up freak-offs in which women were forced into sex acts with male prostitutes. Prosecutors said they booked hotel rooms, stocked them with supplies, and arranged travel for the sex workers. A centerpiece of the case, this 2016 video obtained by CNN that shows Combs punching, kicking, and dragging former girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Prosecutors said they have evidence Combs' staff members remained in contact with the victim to ensure that she would not talk to the police. Combs is now isolated from the general population in a decrepit federal jail.
He takes, his strength of character and his growth very seriously, and he works really hard to be a better person every day.
His attorney said he would ask a federal appeals court to release Combs on bail, but guys, that may be a tough ask because pretrial detention is presumed for defendants like Combs who are accused of sex trafficking. Guys?
Okay, Aaron, thanks for ABC News Exclusive. Michael, you sat down with Vice President Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff.
Yeah, I did, George. And the second gentleman, he took me on a tour of some of his favorite places growing up, and he opened up about everything from his wife and family to the economy to those childless cat lady comments. With just 46 days until voters take to the polls, second gentleman Doug Emhoff has been on the trail supporting his wife, Vice President Kamala Harris, as she campaigns to be the next president.
This was like an iconic spot in the neighborhood.
Now, the second gentleman is back in his hometown of Matawan, New Jersey, revisiting his childhood haunts.
So when you were a kid and you used to sit here at the counter thinking about your aspirations of the future, what did you think you wanted to do?
I think I'd come back here one day as second gentleman. No, it was, we talked about sports. We talked about, what we wanted to do when we grew up. And you can ask my friends, I was like, I want to be a lawyer. I always knew.
But you've always said how special New Jersey is to you. Why is New Jersey special to you?
New Jersey, it's about, loyalty. It's about family. It's about sticking up for each other. It's about being strong, not taking any crap.
There are still a lot of voters out there that said, we need to know more about Vice President Harris. What do you say to them about who she is?
In my DNC speech, I called her the joyful warrior. So it's the joyful part, my wife, the one who's there for our family is going to be there for your families, but she's also the warrior. And I think Donald Trump got the warrior part up on that debate stage. She's somebody who spent her entire life for the people. Donald Trump has spent his entire life for himself.
60 days ago, President Biden made a decision to step aside, and you're thrust into even a brighter spotlight than you were before. So how have things changed for you in the past 2 months?
Oh, not much, No, it's been a whirlwind. And that day, when President Biden decided to step aside on the campaign, she got up there and stepped up. Like, we needed a leader, and she stepped into the breach. And it's like she is the best, most badass version of the Kamala Harris who we know and I love very much.
We've heard the childless cat lady quote, and just this week, Governor Sanders of Arkansas said, quote, "My kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble." How do you react to a comment like that?
Yeah, it's appalling for somebody who is in a position of leadership like the governor to say something so repulsive and so out of touch. Not only on the one, mispronouncing her name, which is disrespectful. She knows what her name is. And then two, as if you need to have your own biological children to be humble, but then to say as if women should be humble. And you can see the pushback even from within her own party, because it's a repulsive thing to say.
Vice President Harris is stepmom to 30-year-old Cole and 25-year-old Ella from the second gentleman's first marriage to Kirsten Emhoff. But it's been something to watch, speaking of family, to see your kids step up, to see your ex-wife step up.
Yeah, we roll hard together. That's who we are. And, Kirsten has been incredible. When you attack Kamala, especially on issues about motherhood, Kirsten has just been out there each and every time just to tell the truth about who Kamala is as a mother, as a person, as a member of our family, again, who's always there for us, and she's going to be there for your family.
And so when it comes to running a country and some of the problems out there that need to be solved, that need to be seen, what do you say to those who say, how is she going to be different from what we've seen with President Biden?
So on the economy, we're going to continue to expand, infrastructure, the CHIPS Act, bringing the chips manufacturing in here, this transition into clean energy. And on the infrastructure piece, you're seeing the effect just driving around the country, bridges, roads, tunnels, airports, broadband. So all of that is going to continue and expand. She's also talking about specifics that are going to help everyday Americans with more housing, child tax credit, opening small businesses.
So for those who may criticize and say, well, she hasn't done that in her 3.5 years in office as vice president, do you think that's unfair?
Yeah, she's the vice president, not the president. So, the vice president is there as part of the administration, not leading the administration. So as president, she's going to be able to put forth her policies and plans and effectuate those.
And if she become first gentleman, what would that say about, defining the gender role and about masculinity?
A man supporting a woman and lifting up a woman, it's the right thing to do. And when some woman succeeds, it's not like some man somewhere is not succeeding. There's like this binary thinking where it's either or. No, it's both. When we lift up women, we lift up all of society.
You worked this years as a litigator, and you actually worked a case for my company back in the day. So what is it like for you to take a break from a career that you not only excelled at, but how is it for you to find your new identity in all of this?
So I miss it. I miss it. There was a lot of action in it, but being able to be second gentleman and hopefully first gentleman, there's so much to do. And so it really was a way to satisfy that curiosity I have, that work ethic.
The work ethic he says he learned growing up here. So how does it feel to come back to the house?
Oh, man, it's so surreal.
Memories from his past still visible today.
My brother Andy did this on this light post, and this has now been there for 40 some odd years. And so he did the AE and this. So he asked me to look. Andy, I'm looking. It's still there, brother.
As he looks toward the future. And we know that you and the vice president are turning 60.
No, don't say that.
I know. Do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, win the election.
So, Michael, is he a Giants fan?
He is a Giants fan. He is a Giants fan. Let me make that very clear from the beginning. I've asked him that before. But he was very open and honest, George, and just how he felt, what he put out there. So I had a great time hanging out with him yesterday down at his old hunting ground in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, it did. Interesting conversation. Thank you, Michael. Now with our play of the day, a sensational season of blockbuster ratings for the WNBA games averaged 1.2 million viewers. Will Reeves back, and Will, overnight, the playoffs are set.
Yeah, the picture is coming into focus. Rebecca, hello again. All 12 teams were in action last night. The Atlanta Dream's Tina Charles becoming the WNBA's all-time leading rebounder with 4,007. She also has the most double-doubles, and Atlanta clinched the final playoff spot. Caitlin Clark and the Fever versus the Mystics drew the largest crowd in WNBA history, 20,711 people. Back-to-back number one picks, Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston alongside Kelsey Mitchell are leading the young Fever squad into the playoffs. Remember, they started horribly, but they surged at the end. But the team to beat is on the hunt for a three-peat. The Aces. Asia Wilson recently sidelined her usual A-plus fashion game. She's been sporting a plain white tee on game days. It's all about winning. It's paid off. She's the first player to rack up 1,000 points in a single season, and the Aces have been on a hot streak. Lots going on in the WNBA.
It's not what you wear, it's how you play the game, and I'm loving this. And will 6-time Olympic gold medalist, WNBA veteran Diana Taurasi, is she retiring?
We don't know exactly, and sort of neither does she.
You didn't figure this out, Will?
No, I didn't, but overnight there was a sellout crowd honoring her with a standing O, just in case. And afterwards, Taurasi said, I think once the season's over, I'll have a better idea of what it looks like for me in the future. And there are your matchups for the first round WNBA playoffs, tipping off on Sunday.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Please.
Aces are going for a three-peat. We always talk about the Chiefs going for a three-peat. Hopefully get the Aces the same energy.
I like that.
Hard to do.
Some love.
Hard to do.
Big Michael energy for the Aces. We love it. And we love you too, Will. Thank you. And coming up, it is that time of the year. It's pumpkin spice time. Yeah, we're covering you. We got you covered there. Stay with us.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Mideast conflict escalates. Israel launches airstrikes in Lebanon. Hezbollah fires back with missiles after 2 days of coordinated attacks targeting Hezbollah operatives. The group's leader calls it an act of war, vowing retribution, as we learn more about how Israel got those detonating devices into the country.
Medal flip.
What about Jordan? You want to try?
This morning, potentially key evidence in gymnast Jordan Childs' fight to reclaim Olympic bronze. What the video shot for a documentary about Simone Biles could show.
How accurate is BMI? What to know about body roundness index, and why it may be a better way to find out if your weight is healthy.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh.
And we're one-on-one with Vince Vaughn, talking about his new hit show, Bad Monkey, and the possibility of Wedding Crashers 2. And he's saying,
"Good morning, America."
Live in Times Square, this is GMA.
Good morning, America. Vince Vaughn said, "Good morning, America." You both giggled. He didn't do it. He just said, "Good morning, America."
He's a funny guy.
Oh, it is great to be with you all this morning. Lori Bergamotto is here with the right stuff for pumpkin spice season, and it goes way beyond drinks. That is coming up.
Happy pumpkin spice season to all who celebrate. Also ahead, the new FTC report on social media and surveillance.
First, look at the top stories at 8, starting with breaking news. It came out just moments ago on the confrontation in the Middle East. Hezbollah struck northern Israel with more than 100 rockets. I want to go back to Marcus Moore in Beirut. Good morning, Marcus.
George, good morning again. We are learning more about the strike the IDF has carried out on the Hezbollah stronghold of Dahia in southern Beirut. Lebanon's national news agency saying it happened just as rush hour was beginning. The health ministry reports at least 8 people have been killed and 59 injured. And according to Lebanese media, there are children among the casualties. The IDF says this strike targeted senior Hezbollah commander Ibrahim Akil. The U.S. had already put out a $7 million reward for his capture. He was allegedly involved in the 1983 bombing on a U.S. barracks here that killed 241 U.S. personnel. Now, this strike comes as fighting intensifies on the border between Lebanon and Israel. And during a recent speech, Hezbollah's Hassan Nasrallah said there would be a, quote, severe reckoning for the simultaneous explosions earlier this week that killed 37 people, including 2 children, and injured thousands. And this morning, the U.S. State Department is calling for de-escalation as concerns grow about a wider war. Rebecca.
An incredibly tense situation there, Marcus. Thank you for your reporting. Please stay safe. We turn now to the new FTC report saying social media companies, including Meta, YouTube, and TikTok, are surveilling users, including children. Elizabeth Schulze is tracking the latest for us on that. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning, Rebecca. This new government report accuses popular social media apps like Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube of vast surveillance of their users, including kids and teens. The report from the Federal Trade Commission claims that those companies collect troves of personal information, not just from their apps, but from your activity across the internet, like if you're married, your income bracket, in some cases, your health conditions, and that data can then be used for targeted advertising. In a statement, Google, which owns YouTube, says it has the strictest privacy policies in the industry, never sells people's personal information, and it doesn't show personalized ads based on sensitive information. We reached out to Meta. It declined to comment. TikTok did not respond to our request for comment. But we have seen TikTok and Meta tout these revamped security features for younger users. Instagram this week rolled out those stricter new settings for teens accounts. The FTC says that Congress, though, needs to do more. And there is now some momentum for bipartisan legislation that could be enacted to protect kids and their privacy online. The last time that happened, TikTok and Instagram hadn't even been invented yet. Michael.
Oh, wow. Elizabeth, thank you so much for that. I'm going to turn now to the investigation into the Titan submersible tragedy. One witness described how it malfunctioned on a dive less than a week before its final journey as the mission specialist delivered emotional testimony. Stephanie Ramos is here with the latest. Good morning, Stephanie.
An OceanGate worker gave a heartbreaking testimony in the Titan submersible hearing, saying everything seemed fine the day of the mission. But as we've heard from previous witnesses who actually worked on the vessel, those in charge may have missed some key safety steps.
It was an emotional third day of testimony in the hearing for the doomed Titan submersible that claimed the lives of 5 people, including OceanGate founder Stockton Rush.
I was the one holding that bag for them as they got in the sub.
OceanGate mission specialist Renata Rojas breaking down during tearful testimony, walking through those critical hours.
They were just very happy to go. And that's the memory I have. Nobody was really nervous.
Rojas, a banker who had previously gone on a dive to the Titanic on the experimental vessel, was volunteering and assisting the surface crew during the 2023 expedition when the submersible catastrophically imploded on a deep-sea voyage to the shipwreck site.
The conversation was another 15 minutes and we're calling the Coast Guard. At this point, they're really overdue.
Rojas testified there was nothing unusual about the day of the dive. Everything was done on time, and they had good weather.
It didn't seem to be anything of concern until about 5 or 6 p.m.
And what was the demeanor of everyone on the vessel at that time?
I don't think we got concerned until it was really overdue.
An OceanGate scientific director who also testified described how the Titan malfunctioned on a dive less than a week before the Titan's final fatal mission. He said it was uncomfortable and unpleasant. However, there were no injuries, and ultimately that dive was aborted. Guys, hearings are expected to go through next week.
Okay, Stephanie, thanks very much. Coming up on our GMA Morning Menu, how video shot for a documentary about Simone Biles could impact Jordan Child's fight to reclaim Olympic bronze.
Plus, is BMI really the best way to measure your fitness? The new push to use body roundness index. We're going to tell you exactly what that number means and why it matters.
Plus, what Vince Vaughn says about his new show, Bad Monkey, and if we'll ever see a Wedding Crashers sequel. And Will is back with a special guest. Hey, Will.
Bonjour, Michael. All the Emily in Paris fans here are excited because Philippine Leroy-Beaulieu is here to tell us what's happening with Sylvie on this new season. That's coming up right here on GMA.
Nice weather here in New York on this Friday morning. Welcome back, everybody. With next week here on GMA, Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, and director Todd Phillips are going to tell us about the Joker sequel, and we are so looking forward to that.
That should be something. We're going to turn out our GMA cover story. Gymnast Jordan Childs, it's her fight to reclaim Olympic bronze. Morgan Nord is here now with a video shot for a documentary about Simone Biles that could impact Jordan's case. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning to you, George. Jordan Childs relentlessly fighting to get the bronze medal back. And this morning we're seeing new video footage from a Netflix docuseries on Simone Biles that may flip Childs' appeal in her favor. Now, it's the most significant piece of evidence thus far. And if all goes well, she'll have her teammate Simone Biles to thank.
This morning, we're getting a look at key evidence that's part of gymnast Jordan Childs' fight to reclaim her bronze medal.
What about Jordan? You want to try?
In video that Childs submitted to Switzerland's Supreme Court as part of her appeal, which was filmed by Religion of Sports, a documentary crew which was following her teammate Simone Biles, Childs' coach can apparently be heard asking for an inquiry into Childs' routine. Not once, but twice within what appears to be the 1 minute required by the committee.
Inquiry for Jordan. Inquiry for Jordan.
In August, Childs earned a bronze medal after her coach filed that inquiry, only to days later have it taken away from her after the Court of Arbitration voided that inquiry, saying her coach's appeal to change her degree and difficulty score was filed 4 seconds too late. Last week, Childs choking up when talking about her medal being taken away from her.
The biggest thing that was taken from me was that it was the recognition of who I was.
And the final decision on this appeal is in the hands of the Switzerland Supreme Court. Meanwhile, Simone Biles and Jordan Childs will perform together tonight at the Gold Over America Tour over in Los Angeles. Michael.
All right, Morgan, thank you so much for that. And now to the debate surrounding BMI and whether another approach is the more accurate way to determine if your weight is healthy. It's a story we first saw in the Wall Street Journal, and nutritionist and dietitian Maya Feller is here to break it down. Maya, good morning to you. And break down for everybody how BMI works and the controversy surrounding it.
Absolutely. Good morning, Michael. So good to see you. So BMI is body mass index, and what it does is it takes a look at someone's height and weight, and then there's a number that comes out, and they're either categorized as underweight, overweight, regular weight, or obese. And those categories, I should say, are used in insurance. So like when someone's getting health insurance, they use those categories to determine what they're eligible for and other types of insurances. Here's the controversy, is it doesn't take body composition into consideration. So someone who's very muscular might wrongly be put in the overweight or obese category, and that's just not okay.
Yeah, I always wondered about that. And there's a more accurate way, they say now, body roundness index?
Yes, body roundness index. So body roundness index actually looks at someone's height and waist circumference, as well as their hip circumference. And you can see the calculation here. It's kind of complicated. I would say go online, use one of those calculators. Either you're in this healthy sphere or unhealthy sphere. The challenge with the BRI is that it really favors more slender bodies, and it says that, okay, rounder bodies are not as quote unquote healthy.
Now, given these options, what do you recommend for people who do want to check their health and make sure they're okay?
Yeah, so I always like to check the insides. I say you can look as wonderful as you want on the outside, but what's happening with your lipids, what's happening with your blood pressure, your blood sugars, those are the things that I want to see. And if you want to engage in mindful, intentional, gentle weight loss, we've got to see more plants on your plate. We've got to see the inclusion of lean proteins, heart-healthy fats, and mindfulness around how much is being consumed and how often.
Mindfulness, very important.
Yes.
Maya, thank you. As always.
Michael.
Now, gonna go to Will. Pop news, buddy. I'm coming. Get
All
going.
right, Michael, get on over here. From BMI to POP, it's pop news time. We begin this morning with New Kids on the Block, moving to a new block, the Las Vegas Strip. The band announcing their first ever Vegas residency, and it's called The Right Stuff. How about that? The guys making the announcement in style, taking to the Strip on a double-decker bus, checking out their new sign at the Dolby Theater. How'd they get to the Strip, you might ask? Step by step, of course. This news comes, thank you for laughing, Rebecca. News coming after their sold-out Magic Summer Tour. Donnie Wahlberg saying in a statement, quote, "We cherish every opportunity that we get to perform for our fans, but a Las Vegas residency gives us an opportunity to take our performance and interaction with our fans to the next level." They're going to play 16 shows, kicks off June 20th, 2025. Tickets go on sale next Friday, which, speaking of, the band will join us on that day right here in Times Square.
That's going to be
They're going to
fun.
tell us all about it, and they're going to help celebrate 2 years of The Right Stuff on GMA with Lori B.
They're going to be perfect for residential.
Oh, yeah.
It's
NKOTB. I'm writing the demo, so
Yes,
I don't know about you
NKOTB.
guys,
That
but
stands for New Kids on the Block. I got that one. In more music news this morning, please listen up. All summer long, Sabrina Carpenter gave us espresso. Now she's getting ready to serve up some eggnog for the holidays. Sabrina announcing her very own holiday special on Netflix called A Nonsense Christmas with Sabrina Carpenter. Here's how she teased it.
Expecting someone else?
Perhaps a nod to the Queen of Christmas herself, Mariah Carey.
yes,
Maybe.
of course.
Perhaps.
Yep.
That's all. We're just asking questions around here. Netflix saying Sabrina's first holiday special will, quote, feature unexpected guests and duets and comedic guests you will not want to miss. She'll bring us her holiday cheer December 6th at 9 p.m. And finally, this morning, that celebrity that launched 1,000 memes talking about the 2-month-old pygmy hippo, Moo Deng. Biggest star in the world right now. In the last few weeks, she's captured the hearts and attention of the internet, and people cannot get enough of her. How could you? She's at a zoo in Thailand. She's like, I don't know, a foot long, it seems like. She's hilarious. And I have good news for everyone who can't get enough Moo Deng. You can now get your Moo Deng fix any time of day without having to go all the way to Thailand, because the zoo has a 24/7 live stream of her enclosure. That launches next week, which is not soon enough.
And she's always smiling.
Yes. Well, maybe that's how hippos look. We can't get into the mind of the pygmy hippo, but if we could, we would say.
I think she's smiling.
All right, George Stephanopoulos says it's so.
I think this conversation has gone awry.
Let's go to Ginger.
Thank you.
Will, if you get George to say that the hippo's talking, I'm going to tell Lara, because that's always the fight, right?
Okay, guys, fall is officially underway this weekend with the fall equinox on Sunday. And what makes fall nice? It is pumpkin spice. Lifestyle contributor Lori Bergamato is here with the Right Stuff Pumpkin Spice Edition. It is so great to see you. You dress the part.
I'm ready.
This might be the most controversial, but also the most anticipated of all the Right Stuffs of all time.
A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not really into pumpkin spice. And then they were stealing things off the set. They're like, oh, let me just smell that.
Yes,
So,
it smells great right here.
It smells so good. And I will tell you, pumpkin spice is a $600 million industry. That scent, it's over 400 products. We've got some of the best ones today. So should we kick things off with this candle?
Let's do this, Lori.
Okay, so first of all, how beautiful is this,
it's
right?
really lovely.
It looks amazing. It smells amazing, as you said. It's from Voluspa. We got a lot of questions about how to say that name. That's how you say it. It's available at Anthropologie. And what we loved about this is the market is so saturated with candles, pumpkin spice, and they can be very cloying.
This
right?
isn't hardcore.
It is not. What reviewers loved about this is the blend. So it has warm vanilla, it has cinnamon in there. So it really balances all those notes. It's also a coconut wax, which means it burns clean, paraben-free, phthalate-free, soy-free. And the other thing that reviewers loved is the throw. Do you know what that means when we talk about candles?
Please tell me.
I'm so excited because I just learned. So what the throw is the way that it fills a room with fragrance. And this has incredible throw. So if you light it, if you live in a big space, or if you're just trying to permeate a house, this is how you want to do it. These start at $36, and you can get this beautiful big one. This one is over $200, but an amazing hostess
That'll
gift
throw it everywhere.
Yeah, throw it everywhere.
Perfect.
Throw it in the whole studio.
Okay, you brought food. We like this.
We love food. It's not pumpkin spice unless you can indulge, right, people? But here's what's so great about this. These only taste indulgent. These are from dough, right? So good. We actually have Bobby, our technical director, is going to taste some out for us as well.
Oh.
There he goes. Oh, and I love Lily's in her pumpkin spice, too.
2 thumbs up.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it. But let me tell you the best part. These have 41% less sugar. They're vegan. They're gluten-free. So they call them the good for you donuts. They come in a lot of different flavors. This one is obviously limited edition. And right now, you guys, it's buy one, get one free. So definitely get in on that. I'm going to get them for my kids.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a ginger snap flavor in my mind.
It's really very subtle.
All right, everyone's got to...
You can't stop the juggernaut that is pumpkin spice, nor can you stop the juggernaut that is Stanley. Limited edition. These really need no introduction. It's the Quencher, 30-ounce. 40 ounce, you get that amazing Stanley, keeping everything nice and cold, double wall insulation in that limited edition burnt orange color. We love
Fabulous.
This. Okay, everybody's very excited about the Pumpkin Spice Cafe book as well. So if you are on Book Talk, and who's not, you cannot escape this book because it is everywhere. It has over 15,000 positive reviews. Everyone is calling it the perfect, cozy, romantic mystery. Great weekend read. Fall starts on Sunday, so get into it with this book.
You can sip your PSL while reading the book, obviously.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not, we know pumpkin tastes good, we know it smells good, but it actually has a lot of health benefits as well. So if you're using it for beauty, you can go ahead and put some of that on. This is the Peter Thomas Roth Dermal Resurfacer Mask. It has vitamins A, C, E, those good alpha hydroxys. What does that mean? It means you're gonna have a brighter complexion. It's gonna take out some of that congested, dull skin as we transition from summer into fall. You can use it 1 or 2 times. Do you feel it working?
Yeah, I do.
It starts to tingle. But a great thing to get exfoliated and really brighten your complexion.
Goes great for this time of year.
You're particularly gonna love this. Okay. So do you know what this is?
No, tell me.
This is Better Than Beauty. So this is Thrive Cosmetics. Skincare line, Thrive Cosmetics.
Go, Carissa.
Friend of the show. What we love about this, Rebecca, not only is it going to plump up and nourish your lips, it is going to give you the slightest little subtle hint of spice. And every time you buy one, they are donating to do good in communities. They have donated over $150 million to incredible nonprofits. So you're doing something good every time you buy one of those.
To do. Yes.
Okay, and finally, I know you love a Touchland. I love a Touchland. This is the first time they've ever done a limited edition scent, you guys, which means it is going to sell out. It's only $10. They've done collabs before that sell out immediately. What's great about this is it is moisturizing, but it's not
sticky, also very subtle. So if you wear a different fragrance, it will blend along and you're clean and germ-free as we head into the fall.
And so pumpkin spicy. Thank you, Lori, for these great picks.
Happy fall.
And you can shop all these products on goodmorningamerica.com. Coming up, Vince Vaughn on his new hit series, Bad Monkey. It's so funny. You don't want to miss this conversation.
Just be checking the website someday.
Welcome back to GMA, live from Times Square.
Oh, Vince Vaughn, the man, came into the Hollywood scene nearly 30 years ago, and now he's a prolific producer as well as actor. And his latest role involved the Florida Keys, murder, and the monkey. Real Reeve talked to him. You're back with this. And, you've been doing a lot today.
I have. Hey, I'm busy. You know, I gotta earn my keep around here. Vince Vaughn has earned his keep for a long time. Which version of Vince Vaughn comes to mind for you first? Swingers, old school, dodgeball, Wedding Crashers, True Detective, something else? His resume is long and varied and consistently culture defining. And in his new show, Bad Monkey, we get the whole Vince Vaughn experience. Funny, sharp, and unpredictable.
They said I was consistently reckless, inappropriate, and glib.
Vince Vaughn is on the case.
Why can't you just hide me on the desk in here or something? Wouldn't even be doing any real work. I'd just be checking the websites all night.
And on your screen, this time playing a disgraced cop with something to prove.
How much Vince Vaughn did you bring to your character, Yancey, or are you playing it as it's written on the page?
I think it's that the character in starting in the novel has a personality and a comedic, perception of life and sense of humor about things, which is always fun.
Inspector Yancey, I have a few questions. What time is it? Just past bathrobe time, so you're still good. Okay.
But he's also this guy that just, despite the obvious odds, won't give up.
In Apple TV's Bad Monkey, based on the best-selling book by author Carl Hiaasen, Vaughn's Andrew Yancey attempts to solve a mystery full of twists and turns, hoping to be reinstated to the force. Eccentric characters and, yes, a monkey.
No! What monkey?
All a part of the story.
There's real crime, there's darkness to it, there's weirdness.
Yeah, totally weirdness.
The arm, that's all they found?
Nah, man, the head's in the passenger seat.
If you're too grouchy to answer the question, just say I'm too grouchy to answer the question. You have to hit me with the head in the passenger seat.
So is it a black comedy, a dramedy? How do you describe Bad Monkey?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think there's, I've heard it said that, dramedy or comedy with drama. And then there's a moment where it's giving you permission to laugh and enjoy it. And I think that's one of the things that keeps it engaging, is that the tones, it doesn't feel like a kind of tone that you've just seen all the time. You can tell it's kind of unique how it's all fitting together. And I think for an audience, I think it makes the jokes more fun because you're sort of popping the balloon from the tension. And I think it makes the turns when people get killed or something happen kind of shocking as well. If you want to join the team, all you have to do is ask.
Vaughn's been a Hollywood star for decades, with a special penchant for making audiences laugh.
Swingers, dodgeball, The Breakup.
Gary, on the kick drum. Come. I'm just not really the kick drum kind of guy. I'd rather be just a listener.
When you're out in the world, if people recognize you, what are they recognizing you for? What are they quoting back to you?
I have so many things that get quoted all the time. I can't say that there's one that I get singled out for more than the others.
For me, it would be Wedding Crashers. That was a seminal moment in my life. I remember where I was. I was on a trip with my sister in Boston. I was 13. But my God, I've seen the movie 50 times. I had to restrain myself from not wearing a belt today and showing up and be like, not even wearing a belt.
Don't even wear a belt.
Beltless.
We just had a lot of fun. It was a good group of people.
Can we please get a Wedding Crashers too?
It's been close. They've talked about it a few times. I think you just want to make sure if you are going to do it, that there's a great story. And my take on it always was, what's the next chapter in those characters' lives? Don't go back and try to tell the same story again, but do something that would be fitting for the time. So if they land on something that seems engaging, it's always a possibility.
That was music to my ears right there. It's possible. You're saying there's a chance. As for what's next for Vince Vaughn, he's got a couple projects that'll come out in due time. Right now, he's able to be selective about what he does. Primarily, he loves being a volleyball and flag football dad. Good. And Bad Monkey is streaming now on Apple TV+.
I did not realize he was a flag football dad.
Yep. He's big fan, big sports fan, and we're big fans of his.
Absolutely are. Thank you, Will. Now with our Emily in Paris week on GMA, and this morning, the boss is in the house, Philippine Leroy-Beaulieu. And it is great to have you here, Philippine. Thank you so much for joining us at GMA Live.
Thank you for having me.
We're just thrilled to have you, and it's been such a great time for Emily in Paris. You guys are on top of the world right now.
Yeah, we're very lucky that people like us. No, it's been like that for a while, and we're amazed to see how the public likes the characters and follows us like that. It's a blessing. I mean, and thanks to Darren Star and his writing.
He is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you have such an interesting story. Your father was an actor as well, and so there's a lot of people, and Rome is a big part of his past. So when you were in Rome, a lot of people recognized you and him and connected the two.
I was raised in Rome, and my father worked there all his career almost. I mean, he started in Paris, and then when we shot there, a lot of people from the crew knew my father, so it was very moving for me, and they loved him because he was a very respectful man with everyone. So, so it was very beautiful.
That is such a beautiful thing and really special to be a part of and to experience. So, I'm sure has been this juggernaut that is Emily in Paris. You, of course, have an incredible career as well beyond Emily in Paris. What's it been like to be a part of all of this?
I mean, it's changed my life, obviously. And also, the first time I'm playing a villain. I mean, a villain that has, softer sides, but still a villain. So that was very exciting.
Well, it's also very exciting to see what you will be wearing on the show, in addition to what Emily is wearing, what Sylvie is wearing. I want to take a quick look at a clip, and then we'll come right back.
I was wondering if I could take a vacation day this week.
A vacation day? I don't see why not. Where are you off to?
Oh, nowhere special. I just wanted some me time and thought I'd get out of town.
And where are you taking this me time? Rome?
Why would you think that?
A hunch? But if you were, I'd love to get a meeting with Marcello Muratori.
I'm not going to Rome. I'm going to, Krakow.
Krakow? Who goes to Krakow?
It's all about the timing with Sylvie. You always just land those punches perfectly.
I mean, it's such a pleasure to play with Lily. She's fantastic, and we love the comedy together. So it's great. It's great. We find a chemistry.
We were just saying before we came in, Emily in Paris is kind of like chocolate. Like, it's really fun. Yes. You want to consume it. Fashion is a part of that.
Yeah.
What was your favorite outfit? Do you have a favorite outfit from the year?
Oh, it's always difficult because there's so many beautiful clothes that we come up with. Marilyn Petrucci comes up with it. But I'd say that there's something that the jumpsuit, the Saint Laurent jumpsuit, when I come to Rome is like strong. It's like the witch is back, and I like that feeling.
Yes.
Or the Pucci dress in Rome. Also because in Rome, the fashion was softer because Rome, it wasn't as contrived as in Paris. So I kind of like that evolution of the character and also with the clothes.
There's a mix of it, but you also just bring the fashion game strong every day. Your mom was a jewelry designer, and I'm looking at your jewelry right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know.
What, if you had to give advice to women out there who are trying to dress to feel confident, to feel good in their skin, what would your advice be?
Oh my God, that's very difficult. But try to put something on that makes you feel good, and don't put too much. No Christmas tree.
Okay. I think that's like Coco Chanel's advice was take one thing off, look in the mirror and take one thing off. If you had to go anywhere with Emily in Paris, where would you go?
Emily in Rio.
Emily in Rio. And who would you take on a Roman holiday?
Maybe her boyfriend, Marcello.
Oh, Sylvie.
I know.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, Philippine. And all of Emily in Paris season 4 is streaming now on Netflix. Let's go to Ginger.
Rebecca, I finally got to get in the first episode of the latest season, and it is my chocolate. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get to something else here. A first look at the trailer for the new docuseries, Scamanda. It's based on the hugely popular podcast. Take a look.
Amanda Riley was a mother, wife, speaker at her church.
Everybody loved her.
She got diagnosed with cancer.
I heard the words, "You have stage 3 blood cancer."
When Amanda told me she had cancer, I was so devastated.
A beloved young Christian woman fighting a battle undeserved.
We gave our hearts, our prayers. We thought she was God's gift, but she was a liar.
Why would somebody fake cancer?
Thousands of people threw money at her. The community raised $100,000.
What surprised me is the lengths that she went to fake the cancer. There's all these pictures of her in the hospital with IV tubing.
She was accused of faking cancer.
She hurt tons of people. It was only a matter of time until Amanda's whole world came tumbling down. Oh my God! I was like, ha, you're lying and you're getting caught. This is over. But it wasn't, not even close.
Scamanda premieres October 9th on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Scamanda premieres Wednesday, October 9th here on ABC. And as you heard, streaming the next day on Hulu.
Now to the evolution of the black quarterback, a new docuseries produced in part by my production company, Smack Entertainment. And in it, former NFL quarterback Michael Vick introduces us to some of the great black quarterbacks in the history of the league. Big welcome to Michael Vick.
Yeah! Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, man. And you know, when you look at the NFL now, it kind of some people may forget, because many people, including a lot of fans, they may not realize it has taken decades, literally, for black quarterbacks to be given an opportunity in this league. And you talked with a lot of the trailblazers who made that possible. How was that?
It was amazing to talk to these guys and hear their stories. And it's funny because we all share similar stories. I feel like we all had points in our career where, you know, whether you was in high school or college, where you was doubted a little bit, or you was told that you might have to go play a different position, or you know, you just wasn't confident, and I wasn't confident that I would be a quarterback, you know, as my years went on in football. And so to listen to Doug and Rodney, we listened to Warren, you know, some unbelievable stories that I just wanted this generation to hear and know that, you know, they're very fortunate to be in the situation that they're in. They're very fortunate to be able to stand at the podium and be selected number one. I was one of those guys. And, you know, they just got it good nowadays, and I want them to know what the Trailblazers went through to pave the way for us now.
And speaking of Trailblazers, you did talk to Doug Williams, who the first black quarterback to ever win a
Probably
Super Bowl.
One of the best interviews I did, too.
Really? What made it so special?
You know, I think, you know, Doug was just candid, you know, about, you know, his process. I had a chance to sit down with Joe Gibbs and talk to Joe about Doug and to get to know his football acumen and you know, how much of a football savant he really was. He always had the talent, but, you know, coming up in Grambling, you know, it was all types of issues that he had, stereotypes that he had to face. And once he overcame those, he became one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. And I remember watching Doug as a 7-year-old kid in the Super Bowl and not being as comfortable watching him because I was used to seeing white quarterbacks and, you know, couldn't put it all together, you know, as to, you know, why he was a black quarterback playing. And it was kind of confusing because I wanted to be a quarterback, but I didn't see a lot of them, you know, as I watched the game of football.
And you covered the full gamut of your conversation with Doug Williams. You mentioned you talked to Joe Gibbs, his coach. You also talked to Andy Reid, your coach. Also, your favorite guy, Steve Young. So this is kind of a big mix of people. And you talked to a lot of these young players, Patrick Mahomes, C.J. Stroud. You talked to Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. Did they understand the history? Did they understand what it took for them to be able to have the opportunity that they have now?
Yeah, I think, and that's part of why we wanted to do this. We wanted to, you know, bring back the history. We wanted to show, you know, what these guys actually had to go through. And like I said, how fortunate and how privileged they are now to be in the position that they're in. And so, you know, in talking to them, they all had, you know, similar stories in their own right where they might have been doubted at times, but still believed in themselves and had the confidence to keep pushing forward. And there was always somebody that pushed them to continue to, you know, want to play that position, play the quarterback position. And a lot of those guys say, you know, I inspired them, you know, I inspired them. And so that was really cool to see. That was really cool to hear. But a lot of people, you know, I know in my day, you know, it was questioned whether I would continue to be a quarterback.
But you did, and you did it very well. You inspired a lot of people. And we're going to show a clip of a conversation you had with Dak Prescott.
When I came on my visit to Dallas, there was a player in the training room, and I won't say the name. And as I walked through, he asked me who I am. Say Dak Prescott, quarterback, Mississippi State, and he goes, "Black quarterback? We won't have that." So I'm okay, and that's when I realized the impact that I could serve or have or I guess the wall that I was going to be trying to break down if I got drafted by them.
And what do you think about the state of the league now? So many starting black quarterbacks out there. What do you say? What did it say about the league right now?
I think it says a lot about the league. I truly wanted this to be a celebration and not looked at as a divisive situation. The league general managers, owners, coaches have granted us the opportunity, and I think they deserve a lot of credit. We truly wanted, my wife, as we, put this together with Smack, your production company, as we huddled together and figured out ways to make this project a success. And ultimately, we wanted the NFL to be proud of this, how far we've come, the brotherhood and the opportunities that's been given to us as black quarterbacks now. I think it's a celebration for all.
Well, I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of the project that you put together, and this is amazing.
I appreciate your production.
It really is. I'm not just saying that because I'm part of it, but I've had a chance to watch it, and you've done a great job. The evolution of the Black Quarterback premieres next Tuesday, September 24th on Prime Video. Make sure you check it out. And coming up, protecting the most endangered places in the world. When we come back with more GMA.
We are back with our friend Bob Woodruff. He's here to talk about his new series, Last Lands. It focuses on the planet's most threatened ecosystems. Great to have you back, Bob.
Great to be here, George. It's been an amazing voyage that we've taken. We've been to 5 different countries around the world just to see how the national parks in underdeveloped countries are being protected. Now, earlier this week, we reported about Indonesia, and on Monday it will be Ecuador, where cartels have actually moved into the Amazon in a hunt for precious mineral, gold. True natural beauty, untouched, one of the last of its kind. But this comes at a cost. 5 countries, 5 incredible real stories of adventure, danger,
We have to go.
and deceit. These are the last lands, the national parks around the world that have to be saved. Here in Ecuador, gold mining has been around for generations. But in the mines, where it's legal to dig for gold, it's gotten harder and harder to find, forcing miners deeper and deeper into the mountains, like Nambia. This is the mining area that we're going to go to. So we're going to go up to this spot and see exactly where our host can show us what they're doing. What is this?
Polvorín. Explosives.
Donde se ponen los explosivos. Just walking down the streets to see where he's doing the mining, and right on the side of the road, this dynamite, big pile of it. Starting to see what this is going to look like, I think. Just heard these dynamite blasts down here.
We have to go.
What, the gas? There's gas? These challenges have pushed miners into new gold-rich territories.
This area is all right now cartel-run gold mining.
Into national parks, into the Amazon. Wait a second, wait a minute. Looks like there's 3 people coming down the river. Well, this is just a little taste of what we encountered while we were down there in Ecuador. The cartel is operating as one of the most powerful Los Lobos. Just to keep them out of the parks, the government needs more troops and also some funding from people like us outside the country. So, George, this is true. And all the countries we visited, all of this needs this kind of help.
Yes, such an important project. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Good to have you. You can see episodes of Last Lands Mondays on ABC News Live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They'll also be available on Hulu, Disney Plus, and in other locations.
We have a star-studded lineup next week, starting with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody on Monday, and NKOTB, New Kids on the Block, on Friday.
Have a good weekend first. So long.
More.
Hey, have another bite.